One thing about me is I like to make things as complicated as possible. So rather than just like have a few products that I sell on my website, I have to have a million products that I sell on a bunch of different platforms. And I also have revenue streams from like referral links on Amazon, and I do custom work occasionally, and I have influencer side projects. Because basically, when someone slides into my email and it sounds like a fun project, I'm not going to say no. So, something I have sort of unintentionally gotten myself into over the years is licensing. So, one of my most recent projects was probably my favorite licensing project, if I had to say, which was making this puzzle for Ravensburger. So, Ravensburger is like a really big, like international puzzle company. I think if you are a puzzler, you might know of them. So, I was really excited for this opportunity. But I've done a lot of licensing deals sort of over the years. I originally licensed sticker designs, and I have licensed my prints to be printed on baby items, which has been super cute and fun and super giftable. And we stocked those in Mill Meadow for a while too. And I also licensed my designs for being printed on poly mailers for shipping. So that's been super cool. And I've just done a lot of little projects here and there with licensing. So it's kind of a fun way to branch out into different product areas and expand my reach a little bit with customers that I otherwise wouldn't be able to reach on my own. And today I'm going to talk about the process of licensing, particularly with this puzzle. So I've done many different types of licensing deals in the past, but basically what licensing is as an artist, you own the copyright to your work. And if someone wants to print your pattern, design, art, whatever, onto a product and sell it, they need a license from you. So that's where the word licensing comes from. It doesn't mean that you as an artist are licensed. It means you are licensing someone else, giving them permission to print your design in some capacity, or recreate or reuse your design in some capacity. So traditionally, licensing often includes what's called a royalty, and that is also what the term is for like publishing a book, which I have done with my sticker book and my first coloring book. So essentially, royalties are a percentage of the sale of whatever item your art is printed on or is used on. So generally, I have seen a kind of a range of different licensing royalty rates, but it's kind of hard to figure out what is like standard in the field. And as far as I have been able to tell, most standard licensing rates are between like 5 and 10%. Anything below that, I have rejected outright. Like, I have gotten some like offers to license, but honestly, it was more just like, it felt like people were trying to take advantage of my work and just tried to say like, oh, it's going to be good exposure for you. I personally believe that as an artist, you should not settle. You should know your worth, and you should stick to a general rule for what licensing rates you will accept. So my advice is for royalty rates, don't take anything less than 5%. Some things may vary depending on whether the licensor is selling wholesale or retail. So if they are selling direct to consumer, then the price that the item is sold for is going to be higher. So you could accept a lower royalty rate if you felt so inclined. So if the company I'm working with is selling wholesale, I generally am looking to get 10% because that means I will get 5% of the ultimate retail price. If it is someone who's selling retail, I am more likely to accept a lower rate, although I do try to stick to 10% as much as possible. It is kind of a judgment call on what you are willing to accept. I think that if everybody starts accepting lower and lower royalty rates, then in general, artists' work will continue to be devalued. And obviously, that's not something we want to see in the industry as a whole. So it is definitely beneficial for everyone to not accept a licensing rate that is too low. On the other hand, there's another way to be paid for a license, and that is through a flat rate. And that's what I did with Ravensburger, actually. So they reached out to me for a custom design for a circle puzzle, and they wanted specifically tropical fruit and florals in a rainbow color scheme with a black background. So it was a very specific ask. I knew that it was going to take a good amount of time to actually draw this, but since it was such a straightforward project that didn't require multiple stages of proofing, like they knew exactly what they want, they told me at the beginning, I created the design and it was done. It was very simple and streamlined and did not take a ton of back and forth or effort or energy on my part. It really just took like sitting down and drawing it. So with that in mind, I was not going to ask for a super high flat fee rate because I knew this was going to be a straightforward, easy process. So they originally offered me, if I'm remembering right, about $1,500 US. So they're based in Germany, so they offered me euros. But they originally offered me $1,500 US for the design, which was a little low to me initially, knowing that this was going to be printed like thousands of times, and they were going to sell them for like $25 each. With that, they're gonna make upwards of $25,000 from this, if not like a lot more, but like at minimum $25,000. So $1,600 was somewhere in the range of like 5 to 10% of that, just like very conservative estimate of the revenue this puzzle was going to bring in for them. So I definitely wanted to see a little bit of a higher rate. So I negotiated with them. I just said I was super excited about the project. I was interested in working with them. And then I said that I could do it, but I would have to ask for, I think I countered at $2,500. And then eventually we settled on a $2,200 royalty rate. So that was 2,000 euros at the time. I think I got 2,200 US. So this took me probably like 4, 5, 6 hours, if I had to guess, to draw. So not really bad for an hourly rate. But crucially to the deal, in my opinion, was this design was not licensed to them in perpetuity. It was not a forever exclusive license. It was an exclusive license for printing on puzzles only. So they're only allowed to print this design on puzzles, nothing else. And they only have the license for 2 years. So after 2 years, the copyright for printing on puzzles reverts back to me, and I own this artwork in its entirety. I also currently own this artwork if I wanted to print it on something else, like a sticker or art print or whatever. If I wanted to, I still could do that, and like they can't sell this design printed on other items. In another case, I had an offer for a licensing deal that was a flat rate, and they wanted like 5 bespoke designs, and they wanted to pay $700 per design, which felt a little low to me. And they also asked for the design forever exclusive license for any product. And that was immediately a no for me, because if I was going to give them a whole collection of patterns that are in my own style and I license it exclusively to them, then if I then went on to design a similar pattern and sell it in my own store, they may be able to sue me, saying I'm infringing on the copyright that originally belonged to me but now is exclusively licensed to them in perpetuity. So I definitely did not want to do that deal. Also, the company that was offering it was a very large brand that was clearly capable of paying a lot more and simply was trying to get the lowest possible rate from me. So even though it was a dream brand and I wish I could have partnered with them, it did not work out. But thankfully, around the same time, I also got this licensing offer that I felt did reflect the time and effort that I'd be putting into this and the worth of the artwork, and also eventually reverted the license or the copyright back to me. So that's why I did this project, and I love how it turned out. It was also super fun to see my art printed on a circle puzzle. That is pretty cool. And then also I got some exposure from it because There is my name and photo on the back, along with a little blurb that has my artist bio. So all in all, I thought that was a pretty cool opportunity, and I will say our office also had a lot of fun putting together this puzzle. So also, if you are interested in purchasing this puzzle, it's available on Amazon, and I have the link below in the description. So if you are a puzzle person and you are into tropical rainbow fruit and flowers, this is definitely for you. And if you have any questions about licensing, about royalty rates, or about copyright, or things like that, let me know. I love talking about all of that stuff. I did intellectual property as a concentration in law school, so it's kind of my passion. And I would love to answer any questions you have in the comments. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and thanks so much for watching till the end. So traditionally, licensing often includes what's called a royalty. So essentially, royalties are a percentage of the sale of whatever item your art is printed on or is used on. Generally, I have seen a kind of a range of different licensing royalty rates. And as far as I have been able to tell, most standard licensing rates are between like 5 and 10%. So my advice is for royalty rates, don't take anything less than 5%. Some things may vary depending on whether the licensor is selling wholesale or retail. So if they are selling, like, for example, if my art was printed on a notebook and it was being sold for $20, and I was getting 5% of that, $20, which is how much the customer would pay is $20, then I would get $1 from that sale. However, if the company is selling those notebooks wholesale to someone else to then sell for $20, they are actually, the company I'm working with is selling that item for $10. So if I were getting 5% of that wholesale price, then I would get 50 cents per sale. So if the company I'm working with is selling wholesale, I generally am looking to get 10% because that means I will get 5% of the ultimate retail price. If it is someone who's selling retail, I am more likely to accept a lower rate, although I do try to stick to 10% as much as possible.